we are the first science streamer. You're gonna get some science. It looks good, huh? Yes. Let's just start a brand new game, huh? Can you explain why the CRT looks like that? CRT, cathode ray tubes, shoot electrons at your screen. And those electrons end up interacting and making pixels and making an image. So if it's all messed up, then something in the ray tube with the magnets and such is probably messed up. How's the volume, chat? Why does a magnet screw up the CRT image? Well, because you are changing. So CRTs use magnets, science time, to direct the charged particles, electromagnetism, right? So a magnetic field can change the path of a charged particle. It implies a force on that particle. And so there's already cathode ray tube magnets that direct your particle. So if you have a strong enough magnet to change the direction of that particle where it should go,
war never changes.
Then it's going to mess up the image.
Since the dawn of man, what are doing?
Do those electrons have more radiation than my phone? This is Kali BM. That doesn't make any sense.
Was not spared the hellfire.
Electrons can be like a stream of electrons could be like beta radiation. But it's impacting the screen. It's not going into you. It's not going into your body. Your phone does not put out beta radiation. If it did, that'd be dangerous.
Known as pin dust.
I'm also playing on a PS4 controller, so all of these key bindings are incorrect. So forgive me if I press many wrong buttons. Yep, Lady Me, let's go. This is how Kyle was born. First thing, science time. Tubes. Wait, there we go. Tubes like that. How, so obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but it should be showing your character in a tube like that with some sort of breathing apparatus. Some of you more nerdy types might have heard of ideas of fluid that you can breathe as featured in movies like The Abyss. But that's not a thing that anyone has figured out. But if you're in a tube like that, there's no known like fluid you can just exist in, mostly because you have to have sufficient partial pressure of gases to gas transfer across the tissue in your lungs to go into your bloodstream. And so if you don't have that kind of partial pressure that you could get from a gas, then you drown. In theory, you could survive in breathing some sort of liquid. I've never seen an obsidian scalpel, but I've heard they exist. But obsidian has an edge up to like 3 atoms wide, or like down to 3 atoms wide, so it can cut anything. But then people ask me, science time, if obsidian can cut basically anything, why don't we use it as swords? And that's because material-wise, obsidian is very, very, very fragile. That's why. You know, there's a shrew. That is not the right button. You're gonna see something weird just happen. 1 second, and we're back. Maybe. I almost sent us to the Bat Cave, literally. Can you tell that I haven't streamed in 2 months? There's an Elephant Shrew. No, the Hero Shrew. Isn't it called the Hero Shrew? Superhero Shrew? That its spine is so strong, you can step on it with a full amount, like your full body weight, you could step on its back and its back wouldn't break. That's science time. Is it the Elephant Shrew or the Hero Shrew? Or are they the same thing? I don't know. Anyway, so Chad, you see on the top left of our screen here, right? So you see the top left of our screen. Science time. Those are RADS. RAD stands for radiation absorbed dose, and it is an outdated unit. We don't use RADS anymore. Well, maybe some places still use RADS. Vixen Nova Sky, welcome on Twitch. And we don't use RADS a lot of the time in radio protective safety because it doesn't tell us what happens to human flesh. It tells us what the absorbed dose in some material would be, but it doesn't tell us what it's going to do to the human body. And so today we use Röntgens, REMS, Sieverts, Grays that all link to tissue damage and radiation sickness and those kind of things. Isn't that an exponential scale? No. And I think you're thinking of the term logarithmic. And it's not a logarithmic scale. A logarithmic scale, science time, increases by an order of magnitude for each increment. So it'd be 1, 10, 100, 1,000, and tick 3 is 1,000 times higher than tick 1, etc., etc. Fallout London is a multi-year, a game that was worked on for many years by fans of Fallout 4, and it's a new Fallout game basically set in London. Chat, it's me. 3 points since Röntgen, not terrible, not great. Rad per what amount of time? That depends. Are you looking forward to Stalker 2? Says FS Crivy on Twitch. Yes. So Nanoku, I was just watching a clip from the Chernobyl series, and they find that at the exploded reactor number 4, it gets to like 15,000 Röntgen per hour, which so 1,000 Röntgen will definitely kill you, because it roughly equates to 10 sieverts, 2 orders of magnitude less. 10 sieverts is 100% death, basically. And so you can do the math on that one. If it's 15,000 Röntgens per hour, how quickly will you get to 1,000 Röntgens? And that will give you the amount of time that you could stand in front of or near the exploded Chernobyl reactor after it happened before you got an absolutely lethal dose. And the fun thing, not the fun thing, it's not fun. It roughly equates to 2 minutes. And how long, well, that's a little bit more than 2 minutes, but that informed how long the liquidators were allowed on the roof of the building. Roughly 2 minutes. Isn't it interesting? I think it is. Let's continue. Yes, you wouldn't get to death threshold. You'd get to radiation sickness threshold. What would be important, get the torch. They mean a flashlight. What would be important for radiation workers, and this is what people do, obviously, you don't want them getting anywhere near lethal levels of radiation, because you will succumb to radiation sickness, acute radiation syndrome, ARS, science time, very quickly, and you won't be able to work. And if you're a liquidator, you don't want that science time. You look like the Chad meme. Why? Because I'm a Chad? What do you play for that esports team, says Silly Spotty Rocking. I play for the Science Victory. Do technicalities count as science times? Not unless we learn something. Token on Twitch. What causes dandruff, says Liz Calvert's Tiny Human Alex with the 5. Buildup of oils and dead skin in patches on the surface of the scalp, which can be exacerbated by certain conditions like seborrheic dermatitis, which is caused by fungus and stuff. Yeah. Maybe that. Do you ever think we'll see small nuclear-powered machines with fusion cores? I think, science time, I don't think we're near fusion in my lifetime. I mean, I should have said your lifetime. I'll live forever. But I don't think, Daniel, you'll have fusion in your lifetime. Not viable fusion. Not like economically viable fusion, and certainly not miniaturized fusion. Fusion. We are working right now, science time, on miniaturized nuclear reactors. I saw designs for a nuclear reactor when I was spending time at the Idaho National Laboratory, a video of which you will see in the next 3 to 5 weeks. But at Idaho National Laboratory, they're using miniaturized nuclear reactor designs as small as a trash can. I think that's pretty amazing. Callie on Twitch says, how many pounds is a stone? 14. So you're saying Elon Musk will never get his Tony Stark... no, I don't believe Elon Musk will do anything of significant value. Emergency decontaminate, so this is probably radiation shielding then. So it's made of different materials have different shielding properties, chat. Did I go through? Oh, this will be in our next video. But different materials have different... Shut up! I don't think it's going to shut up. Different materials have different shielding properties. So if you want to shield from neutron radiation, it's different from shielding gamma radiation. But we'll go through that at length in a video upcoming. Die, Shrew! Chat, I believe... Science time. I believe there is a shrew... Oh, chat. There's a tiny mouse called the Kangaroo Mouse, and it lives in the desert. And it is so efficient with its water. Nuka-Cola. Oh, I'm going to get hammered. And it's so efficient with its moisture and water use that I don't think it even drinks water. I think it only gets water from the bugs that it eats. And it is so efficient with its water that a young author who is very interested in ecology based a certain character on the Kangaroo Mouse, that character being Muad'Dib from Dune. That's what Muad'Dib means. You don't want to explain time travel science? Time travel science doesn't work. See, science time. The problem with time travel science, or time travel in anything, is that as far as we know, backwards time travel is impossible. Yo, it's the real Kyle Hill for real, says Ryder Reindeer. First time chatter in the Twitch. Backwards time travel, as far as we know, isn't real. As far as we know, science time. I'm gonna just throw another science time on there, because why not? Backwards time travel isn't possible because of all the paradoxes that could possibly exist, because and things like wormholes are only theoretical, they only exist in the math. So, because of all, it seems like the universe doesn't want backwards time travel to be able to happen. And so, whenever you actually try to make the logic of a time travel movie work, it never actually really works. Like, oh, how could, Interstellar actually work? Well, the answer is that it can't. There's no good answer for, all of the paradoxes that you would encounter. It's always a hand-wavy kind of thing. It all costs money on Twitch says, if I close my eyes and then imagine that I'm on a dark street with a street light, is the light I see up and imagine in my mind from the street light made of virtual photons? No. I'm assuming you're using the colloquial version of virtual. But your brain is recapitulating the electrical signals that indicate light in your brain. Nothing is being hit by light. The only way that you're getting photons registering in your brain, science time, is if they hit the back of your retina, which they're not doing, right? Chat, or it all costs money. I kind of want to blow your mind with something. Okay. Everything that you see and that you experience in your mind, everything that you see and experience is a construction, is an internal model that your brain is making. And your brain adjusts that model with real-time feedback from the outside world. You don't see anything with your eyes. You have a predictive model, or this is the new popular theory in neuroscience. You have a predictive model of the world and how it looks already in your head, and that's what you experience. outside sensory feedback adjusts this model, but it is not one-to-one. That is a naive, it's called naive realism. We do not see the world as it is. It is not a one-to-one process where light hits your eyes and that's what you see. No. It works the other way around. Or a lot of people think it works the other way around. A lot of smart people. Not just people. Jason with the 5. I'm too high for this, Kyle. We'll deal with it. We are the first science streamer. You're going to get some science. So, James, I hope your experience of aphantasia hasn't really messed you up. Because it kind of messed my friend up a little bit when she realized it. My friend, one of her favorite things to do is read. But she does not see anybody in her mind's eye when she reads. It's just gray. I don't know what she sees when she dreams, if she sees anything at all. But I know that her memories also don't have visual content. And that's what really freaked her out. Isn't quantum tunneling, science time, isn't quantum tunneling the latest theory that our sun is able to perform fusion? No, we've known about that for a long time. So the pressure and temperature at the center of our sun isn't actually enough to initiate fusion between hydrogen and helium, hydrogen separately and helium separately. So what we believe happens is that quantum tunneling occurs with enough frequency that it can overcome that energy barrier and still fuse, despite not having a high enough temperature. We know well now that when the senses work right, they report outside data well into the brain. But when they bug out or when they experience mental illness, the brain can produce hallucinations. Again, science time. All your senses do is get physical information from the outside world, whether that be the vibration of your tympanic membrane or photons activating cells on your retina. That's it. Everything else is your brain. Everything you experience about the world, realistic, hallucinated, or otherwise, is from the brain. Your senses don't freak out. I mean, you could have, a busted eardrum or something wrong with your eyes, yes. But what creates your sense of reality and your experience of reality is your brain. The mind is what the brain does. Indy Prime saying something very smart in the chat. A load-bearing failure point of modernity is the range of qualia experienced by humans. Expressed by humans. Some people just can't function in modernity and are functionally children due to hyper-specialization. I think you're doing a little bit of a word salad there, my friend, but I think some of what you said is valid. British accent in it, says John D. I'm a man of many accents, John. John, I'm a man. And yes, says Sandman, a nuclear accident resulting in irradiated areas in London. Now, Mr. Sandman, you know me. You've been following me for a long time. Thank you, Dave, for the 5 gaming memberships. You're so generous, Dave. And you look pretty cute in your avatar, I must say. Rex, I have, in Twitch chat, I have perfected my Aussie accent. I no longer need to practice it. It's now 100% accurate. Yank it out, innit? What was I saying? Sandman, I'm kind of a nuclear boy. I've been to Chernobyl. I've petted the dogs in Chernobyl. We've raised almost $100,000 for them. I've eaten the sushi in Fukushima. If you and your team have gotten anything incorrect about a nuclear accident, I am going to focus on it and then maybe make some shorts about it. But we'll see. We'll see. Dr. Kush in the Chicky chat. I have a brain-related question. I'm autistic and have ADHD. Those are often comorbid, meaning that they're often suffered at the same time. And sometimes if I get really into something, I won't be able to feel pain, hot or cold, and go into a kind of automatic mode. Is there a name for that? not being able to feel sensory input is a little, I don't know if I've ever experienced that. You might be describing, you know, flow state, but I'm not sure. I can't feel how you feel. Could US Fallout travel to the UK? Absolutely, depending on the disaster. LOL, I'm totally okay with you critiquing us. Well, then I will. Mr. MEBMC, so science time. When the Chernobyl disaster happened in 1986, that tick up? Yeah. Chernobyl disaster happened in 1986. What transported all of the fission products that boiled out of the uranium fuel in Chernobyl, what dispersed them was a giant graphite fire. And that giant graphite fire burned for days and days, and it dispersed. And because these particles, particulate, dust, fallout, do you guys know why they call it fallout? Because it gets heavy enough to fall out. Anyway, the particulate matter inside of this fire was so fine that it could be suspended thousands of feet in the air and travel for a long time before it actually fell out of the sky. And so after Chernobyl, there was a spread of cesium and other fission products across a good chunk of Europe. So if you had a bad enough meltdown in the United States, say on the East Coast, and a big enough fire that burned for long enough, then could it hit the jet stream or some other atmospheric condition and make it all the way across? Yeah, it's possible, I think. Love you, Kyle. You are a great guy, streamer, brilliant educator, solid sense of humor. I love you, bud. Stay golden. Hazel. Thank you. That's very nice. No one is that nice to me. Thank you. Is graphite a very flammable substance? No, I don't think it's very flammable, but once it starts burning, it's hard to put out. Metal fires are hard to put out. Don't drink the Thames water in game and in real life. No, I wouldn't drink any lake water, river water, anywhere, ever. Chat, I'm trying to play this game, not educate. Wait, that's not true. We're doing both, baby. I was born in 1986. Coincidence? Yes.
The fuck?
What happened?
Ricky,
what? What happened to Ricky? There's a Judge Dredd TV show with Carl Urban and what the heck? Ugh. Oh, you're too big. I don't like your ribbing. They're not for my pleasure. Die. Look at the size of that thing. You know we still use science. Do you know we still use leeches medically? Give me back. I'm gonna drink back the blood that you stole. Get wrecked by physics. I think they're also making another Constantine movie, yeah. Leechcraft is still a thing? Yeah. And yeah, Sandman, you're right. And maggots. Maggots are still really good at cleaning out wounds. They secrete so as not to get rejected by, you know, the body, so they can just eat in peace. Ooh, this music is cool. Science time. See, that's why I want a foot pedal. Maggots secrete sort of like an there's too many. Sort of like an antimicrobial juice around them, which keeps the wound clean, and then they just debride, which is a technical term for remove all the dead skin. And it's another thing. Thank you, Basilisk, for joining on both channels now. Incredible. What an organization we're running. I love it. But another organism that does something similar, science time, is the botfly. So to stay in your skin for that long, the botfly larva also secretes. I realized I'm walking around a giant wall that I can't get in. The botfly secretes something similar that keeps it not grody, which is a technical term. Okay, I'm going the wrong way. Let's go here. Eh? Like down here.